Welcome to Start With The Facts. Yo, welcome back to Start With The Facts. Happy Monday. I'm your host, Maurice Claret, and we have had a great weekend of sports, both college and in the NFL. A whole lot going on, an entire day to talk about all of what's happening in the sporting world. I couldn't wait to get here just to talk shit, joke, and everything that we do here. We're joined by our other co-host, Mr. Jeremy, here in the house today with us. As usual, we have the regular crew, Alex, Brian, and brother DJ down in sunny South Florida. But before we get it started into the show, how was y'all weekend, my brothers?
Right, good.
It was good. It was all right.
Got better Sunday night. Sorry.
Look, well, DJ, can you bring some energy to the crowd? It's like a funeral talking to these two.
What's that? I'm eating, fella. I'm eating some cheese.
It's like so Jeremy and Alex got on all black. It's like a funeral over here, right?
I get it.
DJ, you know why I got on all black?
Me, man. Hey, look, and I know in that first half, Alex, you was feeling good about yourself.
I ain't even watched the game.
I appreciate you for not sending too much early text because I knew what was gonna happen.
I did too.
You jinxed your team, bro. What did he say last week, Mo? The games we supposed to win, we lose, and the games we supposed to lose, we lose.
Yeah, that was like
right?
Chinese.
Yeah, you're gonna get the Aliceism, you're gonna get it right. The games the people got us to lose, we usually win, but it didn't work out this time. It's bad, man. And
you jinxed your
I'm an
team,
expert
bro.
of the Steelers, man.
No,
you
jinxed
jinx y'all too much, man. Make a pick. See, peer pressure. Let me tell you something. Peer pressure is not always good pressure, people. So when people start to peer, I should probably pick a team. Not forget that. I'm gonna stick to my guns and who I am and what I believe. Never bet on your mob. I stuck to that, but we got whooped, man. We cannot. What did I tell you 2 weeks ago? I said we are not built to come from behind.
Well, like he
Didn't say none of that.
Pull the clip.
Hey,
no. So we just when we say pick teams, we're saying we have to make a decision to decide what hill we're gonna stand on. We can't straddle the fence.
Exactly.
That's what it was about. So that's what sports is about. If this is my squad and this is my team, we were just trying to convince you to say, hey, I got to live and die with the decision I'm going to make, but you were building excuses for yourself. That's what I was saying. Nobody building excuses.
I build in, what do you call those things in medical? Non-disclosures, right? I'm not disclosing what I really believe, because when it happens, I don't want to be like, dang, or I want to be like, yeah, I told you so. I'm just like to be even kill all the time, man. That's my style.
He wanted out.
Ain't no way out. That's no way out. Ain't no way out. It's sometimes if you don't say something, it's easier to just kind of talk about it. You know?
You got to roll with your mob, man.
I do. I always roll with my mom. What, DJ?
I'm going to just ask you one question. What are you willing to give for me to unlight that candle? Huh? Hey, you don't have to answer it today. Listen, you don't have to answer it today. Hold on, but after y'all lose next week to the Colts, you better have an answer for me.
Hey, listen,
because after that it's the Chargers all the way on the West Coast.
We're gonna figure it out.
Think about it.
But you can keep that candle lit.
What do you
keep
do?
that candle lit?
Yeah. Are you willing to take on 3 to 4% body fat? What do you?
No.
You know what I'm saying? You got to give something of value.
No. You talking about a sacrifice?
Hey, give me the top roll abs. Just I gotta go.
No, man. Listen, we're gonna get it together for sure, man. But you better unlight that candle though, because Miami, they not.
No.
Never mind. Go ahead.
You can't do that.
I have some facts, but we'll talk about it later. You're right.
You can't do that.
Well, we'll talk about the game now. We'll get into it now, even though it's College Football Monday. But I just want to know what's going on with everybody, because about 2 minutes ago, Alex said we aren't built to come from behind, and everybody let him off the hook. So we done with the ball. I mean, that doesn't get any easier than
context, man. Don't reach.
It doesn't get any easier than that. And everybody let it slide. But that's all right. So, Alex, in the game, when did you know? Like, Steelers are up by half. They looked really
I
good in
knew
the
when
first
we
half.
kept kicking field goals.
When you
I
kept
knew
kicking
when they had ass uniforms.
That's exactly where I was going.
When we start kicking them field goals and we're in the red zone and we're not scoring, that's tough for us because I'm saying to myself, we're not built to score touchdowns, if we're down and we keep kicking field goals and they're scoring. Their offense was potent. We stopped them on 3 and outs in the first half, but other than that, man, they was rolling.
They got rolling.
Yeah, they got rolling
at the beginning of when I seen what score was it? The score when Josh Jacobs scored. What touchdown was that?
I was in the third quarter.
The beginning of the third quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I said the Steelers was about to lose, and I was like, so. And this is very weird because remember the drive right before that, Aaron Rodgers had been complaining. It was like the offsides was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just me noticing how disruptive, like when somebody's unfocused, if this makes any sense. They rightfully had a call where, remember, it was like the defensive tackle rushed through the A-gap too early, and they didn't call offsides. Right. And for whatever reason, it just looked like Aaron Rodgers just wasn't dialed into the game. He cared more about the arguing with the refs and being inside the refs than versus winning the game. And I just know how like momentum, rhythm, focus, like that, right? And then initially after that drive, Jordan Love and them came down. They were stopping Josh Jacobs for the most part. Like, he get a 1 yard here, 2 yard here. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on with Green Bay's offensive line. They fucking letting TJ Watt through and like he's getting clean hits on the running back. But then after they scored that series, I was like, yo, they figured something out. You know what I'm saying? And when they figured that out, I was like, yo, I don't think that I don't think the Steelers have figured anything out.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I felt like that they were winning, but it didn't look like that they were driving the ball down the field and just doing what they wanted to.
Green Bay just needed to get going.
Green Bay needed to get going to my point. And that's when I for me, that's when I said, okay, at this junction right here, and just like, DJ said it 2 weeks ago, how momentum come off the sideline. Yeah. It felt like Mr. Momentum had walked across the field
on the hat.
Hey, I agree with you too. I think Aaron Rodgers, I think when the call didn't happen for him, the offsides, the defensive man was clearly in the neutral zone. But
yeah.
I think he understood how critical it was to get that call because that defense ain't been top notch all year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he understood that every little thing was going to be important because Mr. Momentum was going to come through.
He came through.
Another last thing I'll touch on, man, that's a good point about the penalty and everything. But the Steelers, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We get into the red zone and we get into a third down situation, and we always have a penalty, whether it's a personal foul, 15 yards, or it's a false start for 5 yards, and it just put us in behind the sticks, and that harms us. So to you guys' point, when Aaron Rodgers see, they like, damn, we had an opportunity, but here we go. They jumping off sides. Let us get one. But you still got to stay focused here.
Yeah, but because the team go at like I don't care what everybody says. As your head coach go, as the leader of your team goes, that's how everybody goes.
Yeah.
And I look at that as like when you see somebody who's leading you and they get frustrated, somewhere in your brain, however you're locked in, it just unravels. And it's harder to ravel your brain back up into this place of like supreme focus. And that's what I see. Like if I was trying to explain better what I was saying, I just see when the person who's leading the troops, when they seem to get off focus, no difference, DJ, when I told you a few weeks ago when what's the kid from the quarterback for Buffalo, when he got knocked out.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
yeah.
when you seen him get unraveled.
Yeah,
to me, that's what affects more people than anything. So that's just my 2 cents.
Well, let's go ahead, DJ.
I want to add a little bit. Alex mentioned that, a team can't play from behind, and that's not in the game. They can't play behind in the sticks, right? The Steelers were running the ball very, very well in the first half, right? I don't remember the little back that you guys got.
Jalen Warren.
Yeah, he was picking up nice yardage, right? In the second half, they weren't able to get ahead of the sticks. Green Bay did the exact same thing every third down. If it was 3rd and 7 and long, they had a 3-man front. They moved Micah Parsons off the ball, and they just let him get freaky. And you could see on one play that Micah Parsons' rush was nowhere near Aaron Rodgers.
Stepped up in the pocket.
He stepped up, and you could see in his mind, he said, Parsons is going to be here at some point in time. I think that was the pivotal point in the game, right, is once they weren't able to run the ball, you saw Green Bay start to dial up these exotic blitzes. Micah Parsons is the best player on the field that night, even with Jordan Love, having the game that he had, completing 20 passes in a row. Just the energy in Parsons is what really destroyed that game. And so we talk about the pivotal moments and how important things are. And again, you saw that momentum took over, and it was downhill. It was downhill. Damn near could have, blew out the candle early, right? But I'm gonna just keep it lit, man, because next week they got to go against the Colts, and we already know how that movie ends.
Where they play them at?
They play them in Pittsburgh, but then the following week, the crazy thing is, I know Pittsburgh's schedule better than fucking Miami Hurricanes or anybody else. That's how invested I'm in on Alex Smith. They then go and play the Chargers on the West Coast, and then I believe they come back and then they play Cincinnati at home, which
you never know.
That will be a 5-game slot.
Hey, what are you talking about, man?
He don't even know what he's talking about. It just sounds good. Listen, whenever somebody put that much energy into knowing the opponent's situation, they can't wait, man. Misery loves company, man.
Yes, we do. All right, let's move it over to college football. So a weekend that maybe lacked some of the upsets that we had seen in the previous weeks leading up to this. Certainly didn't lack some firepower, some high-powered offenses, and some firings. So we didn't get through a weekend without a big name being let go. So let's start with Texas A&M. They go into Death Valley and they just blast the Tigers. I didn't think the game was super competitive. Boy, Texas A&M looked good. It's probably the first time I've sat and watched, a game of Texas A&M's and really got to see that offense on the field.
They're good.
And ended with Brian Kelly, the following day getting let go. So I don't know who wants to start and kind of take their first take on this one, but
I'll pop it off. So when you said, I thought the game was actually very competitive for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's
3.5 quarters. And then toward the end of the third, they started to, smack him up. What's his name? Marcel Reed,
yes,
the quarterback. He's explosive, but he didn't play a great game when it came to passing. He was responsible for 4 touchdowns, but I think when we talked, you said you wanted to pick them because of emotion. Was that team or this game?
I would just, I wanted to. Brian Kelly's my man. I wanted him to do better. How about this? Anybody who's ever invited me to their campus to talk to their team, I always have a bias towards them, and you want to see them do well just because you know them. But at the end of the day, go ahead. But that's my
okay.
This was my emotional.
I just wanted to match it up because I think I know I chose this one because of the statistics, and I was saying about their defense. LSU's defense was better than A&M's defense, and A&M has been giving them so many points. I'm looking at what they've done versus Arkansas, and I'm like, man, Arkansas really put up some points on them. So I thought LSU's offense wasn't going to at least put up some points, but your boy Nussmeier didn't do great. The running game wasn't on point. I mean, they had a freshman back who ran well, but you can't win the game if you don't run the ball. You can't. And so under 100 yards again, man, it's tough. So 3.5 quarters, very competitive. After that, they just but this laid down.
Well, I'll say 2 things. This goes to what DJ was talking about with Nussmeier, and the passing game affects the running game affects the passing game, and when you don't do one thing well, you do both things horrible, right? And that's essentially what happened with Nussmeier, and the kid's name is Kay Stover. The running back is actually very good.
He's a freshman.
Yeah, he's a sophomore now. He's a true freshman last year. He had a lot more success last year. But if you can't throw the ball, you're going to load the box up or you're going to scheme to stop the run. It's not really hard. My comments was more for Brian Kelly, right? And it's a joke, but it's serious, right? I remember how we used to always talk about people getting scared of like how NIL would affect the kids. And we never talked about how NIL will affect the coaches. Right. So like we say here, we try to make this whole thing about kids and all this money that they're spending. It really was like some racist shit. They was like, what, they gonna buy some Gucci belts and shit? Jordans? What they gonna do? Buy some chains?
Suede wave caps.
So
give me all of them.
So when they would say this shit, they would be like, it'd be like some of the most racist shit. But we dealt with it, right? But we never talked about, and it's not a bad thing, what do they call it? Golden parachute when somebody So it's not a bad thing when people get fired and they collect $50 million. But we never talked about how the NIL conversation entering the era of college football would affect how these universities have a short leash for the coaches. I always joke around. I talk shit, I joke, and then there's a lot of truth in the jokes that I talk. But this is the more serious part, right? We just never talked about that. And LSU had a premier program who have turned out premier athletes for decades. They're just not going to have it. And you can't have LSU being talked about in the realms of the Kentuckys, and that's no offense to Kentucky, but LSU doesn't view themselves as somebody to be viewed as talked about with the bottom half of the SEC. And with that being said, football is religion in Baton Rouge, right? This is what they have. This is small town, the biggest and best thing that we have, and it's a family event. It runs the town, and so you're not going to be able to, collect $10 million and lose down in Baton Rouge. Just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to rattle off the names of some programs who are looking for a head coach, and just in the back of your mind, think about the names that that are out there looking for opportunities, whether they have a coaching job and this would be a step up, or if they're out of coaching looking to get back in. But the point is, there are so many vacancies right now at big universities.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough qualified names that when they make the announcement, the fan base, the alumni base is actually going to think that this is an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State, LSU, Florida, then I think a big drop off to Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Stanford, UCLA, UAB, Colorado State, Kent State. Those are the current openings in college football. And we're talking about, are they going to recycle names? Are all these guys that just not let go, just playing musical chairs with each other and getting double paid? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to me that these short leashes, and it feels like they haven't thought this through, because even now, knowing what you know about NIL, Curt Cignetti's contract that was just signed last week, fully guaranteed. More money than we've ever seen and fully guaranteed. So it's not slowing down. It's going to continue to escalate.
Well, that Curt Cignetti thing, they may be betting on he's older, and that the principles that he's rooted in is far different than most of these other younger guys. That's how I look at Curt Cignetti. But I don't know who you pick for some of these jobs. Me personally, with the money, I'm going to go grab an NFL guy. Mm-hmm. I just think, like, when you're like, this is a business. This isn't a college football program anymore. And when you're building a business, you have more success with people who know what they're doing. And you don't think that they know what they're doing, or you're not trying to hope that they know what they're doing. You're going with people who have proven that this person knows what to do and knows what it takes. So I would go search for a coordinator in the NFL, and I would entice him with the money. And I would bring that NFL sort of mentality down to the collegiate level. And I would basically be pioneering that in. And I would take any NFL coordinator over any college coach in most scenarios.
Well, we see how that works out in UC or North Carolina. You think it'll?
No, but I mean, the context is Bill Belichick is 70 years old. And I don't think he's as invested as somebody who's probably 20 years his junior. You get somebody, Bill Belichick's probably like 70, 73, 74, something like that. You get somebody who's been a coordinator, they 45, 50 years old, and you will look at them and say, hey, man, I could probably get, 8 to 10 years out of this guy of, like, a focus. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you, but 8 to 10 years now, if they start losing, I think we saw it. Nobody's safe.
Yeah, shelf life's pretty short.
So, yeah, I'm gonna support my point. The point being supported is if you lose in NFL, you out after 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So the leash is the same, but you have the competitive advantage that you're going to coach against Brian, who just stepped into probably his defensive coordinator role. So Brian probably came out of high school or probably was a graduate assistant. He came up under a coach and he finally got his crack at it. Me, on the other hand, I had to compete against a DJ at an NFL level, even at the worst team. The preparation, the type of people you're used to dealing with, all this other stuff. I think that person's mind is better equipped. That person will come down to the college level and be a big fish in a small pond in comparison to having to go back and forth with DJ. Like, okay, prime example. Like, here's the contrarian. Look at what Aaron Glenn is going through.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think what Aaron Glenn would do at the college ranks? He'd probably motor through fucking people. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that just the quality, and you can take the best quality football at the collegiate level, and you look at great quality football in the NFL, it's not even close.
Right.
Like, the NFL is so fucking refined and smooth and predictable. And when they're playing great football, if you take one of those brains and put it at the collegiate level, like, what do you think Matt Patricia's doing? This motherfucker's like this. He comes in week out like, he's like, who are we playing this week? And this is no offense, right? I used to have to prepare for fucking Rex Ryan. I used to have to prepare for Andy Reid and like beautiful brains, right? Man, I'm going to compete against, no offense, but nigga who just stepped off the porch, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. What are y'all thoughts? Because I can go on and on about this.
I think Lane Kiffin. I mean, to one of those, if he gonna leave Ole Miss,
He going to LSU.
he going to LSU. I think that's the
Lane
best step for
Kiffin.
him.
I think Lane Kiffin goes to LSU before he goes anywhere.
Yeah, and that's a splash too.
Before
I think
Florida?
Yes,
Yeah.
1,000%.
Florida.
1,000%.
That's tough. That's tough.
But even if he does, right? Just hypothetically, start with the facts, hypothetical edition. If Lane Kiffin goes to Florida or LSU, doesn't matter. Then it opens up an Ole Miss slot, which is still a great job that's currently paying $9 million to Lane
I think that's
Kiffin.
where the coordinator comes in from the NFL. To his point,
So who do you take?
That's I don't know. I just think
Alex.
it's a crap.
Alex, who do you
It's a crap. I'll tell you who I would call if I'm all these programs.
Who?
Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah,
1,000%.
You have to give him a call.
You start with Urban Meyer. You exhaust that, and I don't. He might be the only. I don't know that.
Man, when I mentioned
John
Urban Meyer-
Gruden's. No, when you mentioned Urban Meyer, I said Penn State led with integrity. Press conference. You're looking for integrity and probably start the job search with Urban Meyer. But I bet you if you're Florida and you're LSU, yeah, you've already back channeled to Urban Meyer. You know if he's interested or not.
Yeah, Urban, my dude.
will he
too.
be interested?
For the right price?
He'd win. He'd go and win.
He'd win, and they'd be on probation in 3 years. That's
you
what,
guys-
that's what Urban Meyer will get you a national championship and probation within 3 to 4 years.
But what program wouldn't sign that deal? Everybody would sign that deal.
If you look at majority of the teams that win championships, that's kind of the format, except for one school. But they're gonna get you. You know who I'm talking to. They're gonna hunt y'all down. They're gonna hunt y'all down.
Well,
Man.
Urban ain't going back to Florida though, right?
No, he wouldn't go back to Florida. No, I would. I can see Urban like LSU. I can see him bend his head like.
Hey, there's a picture floating around of him in central Pennsylvania this weekend. So I don't know what you know about central Pennsylvania, but there's only one thing going on in central Pennsylvania.
What is Central State Park?
State College.
State College. I mean,
Yeah, it's Penn State.
I
don't
can't
think
see. I can't see him going to Penn State.
I think the biggest issue is also finding coaches that fit your culture, right? We do have all these open vacancies. We do have all these coaches, but again, we spoke about it on last week's show, right? Like, I don't see James Franklin
In the South anywhere.
in the SEC.
In the South anywhere. Let me help you out.
Exactly, right?
He was at Andy. That's kind of south.
That is the
Yeah, that's like, yeah. But again,
Vandy's coach.
it's not as easy. It's not as easy people
That's good.
think, right? There's a lot of jobs open. There's a lot of coaches out there, but they haven't been successful in certain markets. And yeah, from time to time, you do see, just like sometimes players need to be revived. It works when they go to a different system, a different program. But again, the biggest issue is like, okay, how do I bring in that coach that also mixes with my culture? And if you look at Kelly's buyout, what is it? It's 54, but it's going to cost the university. It's going to cost the university over $100 million.
Yeah.
When you start to think about the coaching staff, like the layers and the depth of what college football, and we were talking about it the other day, the layers and the depth of college football and how it's not what I would say like the novice thinks that it is and how simple it is. My team loses. I'm pissed off. Let's get them out there. You have to think about when you remove a coach like that, then you have to buy out all of the coaching staff. What is this really going to do to your university? Obviously, they're printing money.
Hey, can I interject?
Yeah.
Hey, look. So when I see this, I have like different emotion. They used to argue with us that they ain't have no money.
Yeah.
like we could just wipe away $100 million.
Like it's nothing.
And we struggling to pay the people who actually make all this happen. This is like, these are the things that 20 years later that have become laughable because you would have adults say shit like this, like, where we gonna get the money from?
Yeah.
Nigga, y'all got it. You showing me right here, you got it, man.
Let's move on. We're gonna. You want to hit?
No. Sorry.
Okay. We let's talk about Ole Miss. I want to get Alex back. You know, he beat him down a little bit on the Steelers things. Now we're going to bring him back up, and he's going to tell everybody.
Thank you, Brian.
You are the oracle.
No.
You're the
Wait, don't do that.
The
Don't-
oracle.
do not
I'm not
do
the
that.
expert.
Hang on. He's the only one that predicted Ole Miss goes into Norman and beats the Sooners. And you got it right.
I watched that too.
So let's go.
Let me just take 2 seconds. All right, so I'm not the oracle. I'm not the expert. I'm the train, man. Just go ahead. I'm the train. I train myself to look at statistics, right? Look at it, see what it's gonna be. But then I also remember when I told you about Trinidad Chambers. He won 17 straight games. He lost that one, and I saw his look on the sideline. He's not losing again. He said, I lost my first away SEC game. I'm gonna go in to this spot. Got me a dub. What's up? What's up? Hey DJ, what's up? Yeah,
No, listen.
what's up? No, yeah.
I will agree.
Hey, I'm
Listen.
picking right now. That's my mob, man. That's my squad. Ole Miss. That's my team, baby. Ole
Damn,
Miss.
gotta light another candle.
Yeah, you ain't got no more. I was waiting. You ain't got no more.
You ain't like look. What you say about Trinidad is true. I didn't
Yes.
believe it early on in the year. There was a play where I would say he rolled right and kind of threw across his body. And the first thing that came to my mind is that other kid, the protege that came there and graduated early and he was at the program since he was 17. He got to find a new home. Like that one play let me know, okay, this kid has to find a new home. And so, yeah, I'll tip my hat to you, right? You was right on Trinidad, but now you done jinxed your damn team. You done picked a team, right? And so now they about to go downhill. They about to. Hey, here's what's gonna happen. Lane is gonna leave before the season ends.
Man,
He's gonna commit. He's gonna commit to leave before the season ends. You already know what's going to happen right there. Everybody on the coaching staff and all the players are going to be for self because everybody's going to understand I got to find a new program to go to. I got to find a new job to go to. Downhill, baby.
Yeah,
Welcome to Alex. Thanks to Alex.
no, I was wrong on that. They're going to struggle. Oklahoma's going to struggle because Mateer isn't back to what he was.
Wait. Say
those
you was
few
wrong
games.
first. Listen, hold on. Say you was wrong first. Expert.
Oh,
You
tried
to back at it.
No.
Come on, Alex.
No.
Hey, see, Alex, I ain't letting him off the hook. No.
Listen,
first,
I handle my
you
losses.
was wrong.
Looking for a way out.
No, you
No,
did.
I-
No. Mo, you try to say, well, look, I was wrong. And then you try to dive into Oklahoma. No. Say you was wrong.
Okay,
And then
listen
we
to
can
me.
continue.
So if anybody accepts responsibility better than anybody on here, it's me. So I'm gonna tell you when I'm right, but I'm gonna also tell you when I'm wrong. Alex is going to they avoid. Alex going to bob weave. Hey, look, look. I'm just gonna speak a little bit louder when I'm right, so it's gonna never sound like I talk about when I'm wrong. I do have, believe you me, there's a couple of the things on the list I was right about, but I was wrong about this. But I'm telling you why I was wrong. I didn't think that they would go in there and do that against Oklahoma's defense, and I thought that Mateer would have enough games back up under his belt to be productive. But I don't know if people have figured him out, that they just take away passes that he doesn't do well, but he just wasn't a big factor inside of the game. Like, when we first saw him at the first, second, third game when they beat Michigan and all that, he was a dynamic player, and they even had his name mentioned within the Heisman conversation. But honorably, I'll say it. Ole Miss went in there. They did their thing. Trinidad Chambers, was cool, but I'm still not a believer that, Ole Miss will end up winning the SEC. From the looks of it right now, it looks to be like the two top dogs who are there is going to be Georgia or Bama, the way that they're playing right now. So that's my two thoughts, my take on it.
Well, I am going to say I did pick Ole Miss to cover. I didn't pick them to win outright. Did pick them to cover. So I was also
He won
right
you some money.
I would have won me some money. Heck yeah. Not as much as Alex, but still in the dream. All right. So you mentioned Alabama. Let's talk about Alabama. Alabama, man, they looked down and out. Thought South Carolina had that game wrapped up, and Alabama comes back to win. Stays at 4 in the polls, and I still think you put them against any team in the SEC on a neutral field, it feels like Alabama is favored. So is Alabama still the team to beat in the SEC?
Well, I'll just say, and I'll let y'all go because I've been blurbing a whole lot about this whole show, and I'll give y'all space to talk. But two things I always say: I get confident in teams who end up having tough battles and they end up coming back and showing character. as you go through the season, you need reference points of like, hey, we've had a hard fight, we fought through it, and that eventually creates character, belief, and everything else, some level of resilience for the team. And so I don't know what the hell Alabama has drunk since the fucking FSU game, but these jokers have turned it around. And to me, it is back to old school SEC ball. It is Alabama, it is Georgia. Ole Miss will be knocking on that door. Kirby Smart's not Kirby Smart. Lane Kiffin is like the younger brother of Kirby Smart, and I don't want to say he's the younger brother of Kalen DeBoer, but of those two programs. But to me, it's those two to be in the SEC. They're just playing very well. They got a lot of character, and they've seemed to figure it out who they are.
And I think Alabama's not elite. If you look at how they played this year, obviously they lost the first game to Florida State. Then they come back and they beat Georgia in a tough battle. Right. Then they come back and they blow Vandy out. They blow Tennessee out. Then they have tough games against Mizzou and tough games against South Carolina. I think this team is a little bit too up and down. It seems like they're lacking like a Bama. If you look at a lot of the top teams right now, they have vocal, emotional leaders. Right. Even if you go to Vandy with Pavia, even if you go to Georgia with their quarterback, right? The only team that doesn't really have that is Ohio State. But shit, look at the fucking roster that they got on their team, right? And so I think that missing piece for Bama, that's that edge, that vocal leader that doesn't allow them to struggle in some of the games like they just did against South Carolina. It seems like they're playing up and down to their competition, and like you guys mentioned, yeah, put them on a neutral field, they can beat anybody, but at the same time, put them on a neutral field, they can lose to anybody. And so Bama will be in the college football playoff. Bama will be in the SEC championship. I believe that. But again, I don't look at this team as Alabama like they're elite. I think it's any given Saturday, and we're seeing this across the board, but for them in particular, I really think it's any given Saturday they can lose just because of how up and down they've played against good teams and poor teams. Seems like they're playing towards other guys' levels.
We'll keep it in college football. Prime in Colorado. I mean, Colorado goes into Utah and just gets destroyed 53-7. And I'm curious your guys' opinions on, we'll start with Jeremy, but is that a start over and rebuild? Is that a Prime heads for the hills and finds a new gig? Like where are the Colorado Buffaloes going?
I don't know about Colorado, but with Prime might be looking for one of those bigger programs to go to. Maybe, maybe the Florida job, maybe Florida State, who knows? But he really looking, I think, to get up out of there at this point. You got to not like he catching a lot of heat from the religious circles behind that. Yeah, he's gonna catch a lot of heat behind that. I don't think the roster is there. I don't think they can bring in the top recruits. I think you can get a lot more out of a bigger program. So I think the ship has sailed. I think he's on his way out.
I'm gonna go with Germ, and I'm gonna say I don't think the roster is the biggest issue. I think the coaching staff is the issue, right?
Distractions.
And, not even so much distractions. It's just like we talk about, building a team, right? We've continued to speak about now how like college programs need GMs, basically CEOs to kind of put the puzzles and the pieces together. And when you look at Prime and what he's done over the last few years, if you look at his coaching staff, he has a lot of big name individuals on his coaching staff that have played big time ball, Hall of Famers, right? That have had legendary careers. You automatically assume that when you get all these guys together, that you're going to win and dominate, right? Just like in sports, right? If you think you can just get 5 or 10 all-stars on a basketball court, you're going to go out and win. At the end of the day, it's like, how do these pieces go together and how do things gel together? And so I think that's really the issue, along with, getting top talent. I just think that getting the coaching staff and the pieces to gel together has been one of Prime's biggest struggle, right? He can get attention, right? He can get some big-time recruits from time to time. But again, and then he can get some coaching staffs that have great names. Okay, you have all these great pieces together, Prime, right? But until you can form them together and put them together like a puzzle to where they're locked in, right? It's all fractured throughout the board. And I think that's his biggest problem. And you can see the frustration on his face from the sideline. It's like, damn, I can't get the players to do this. Damn, the coaches ain't doing that. And, it's hard when you've been elite, right? It's hard when you've been elite your whole life to get everybody else to play up to that level. So that's the issue that I'm seeing with Colorado. I think it's more so also the coaching staff than the lack of players.
This is the first time Prime has been forced to actually coach. Without his kids, when I say kids, his players that he brought in, his Louis bag, all of that's depleted now. Now he's being forced to actually coach. Now, do I think that he runs away from that challenge? No. I think that he accepts that. DJ, I agree that he may have to change up the coaching staff a little bit. He might be on his way out. If it is a way out, it'll be that religious thing. Hey, they don't want me here if I want that bigger job. But if I'm in the mind of Prime, I'm thinking I'm not running away from this challenge because of who I am, what I've started here, what I've built here. Every game they've played, other than last Saturday, has been close. The ones that they lost, it's been close. So they're competing, but they're also making simple mistakes with the quarterback change. We talked about that earlier in the year. And it's like, you got to stick with one. They stuck with one. He's still kind of making mistakes, but they've been in every game. But this is the first time Prime has been forced to coach. So, I hope he sticks it out and go with the challenge. But there's a way that he could leave, and you got to shake up that coaching staff.
Do you think those DJ or anybody wants to answer this? Do you guys think those bigger schools, the probably not Penn State, but let's say Florida State, let's say Florida, LSU, let's even say Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State. Do you feel like those schools, right, and the level that they're playing on, which is a step above Colorado, 1,000%. Do you feel like where he's at performance-wise, like after last year, I think him leaving is a very different discussion than leaving right now, and those other schools going to their alumni base saying, we're bringing in Prime. I feel like at the end of last year, right, he had a lot of momentum, and
that's why he signed a new contract.
right. Smart guy for doing so. But do you feel like those schools are going to back channel reach out to him to gauge his interest?
I think that they reach out to him. I'm probably more on a boat with Germ. I think they reach out to him, but the argument that they would make is that if he had the players, you get all of that other stuff with him in addition to having the guys that do it. Like they say, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fuck this statement up, but they say it's not about X's and O's, about Jimmys and Joes, right? Where you need people to perform. I do agree with DJ. I do agree with there's a difference between you being an elite player and you being an elite coach. Coaching down to the simplest form, and just from seeing it, from growing up, it is literally the repetitive, simple discipline behaviors over and over and over and over again, and eliminating every distraction that doesn't allow you to perform the thing that you're trying to perform. And that's all you're doing as a coach. And then do you have the staff? Like, you may believe that philosophy, but then does your staff put in all the work that they can and could to basically do all of this boring, repetitive, simple shit? Like, that is literally what separates people. People don't like to talk about it, right? But you may have outliers that are very talented. You'll have an outlier who can, dominate here and there. But for the mass majority of guys, it is literally, when shit gets tough, do I have like this repetitive, day in and day out team who just sticks together, minimizes mistakes, and basically do all of the shit that they need to do to win. And so if you're a superstar and you really kind of like this, when you really don't need this and you're doing it as something to do, that's totally different than a motherfucker who I'm in the building with coaches now who need coaching and who put in 15, 16, 17 hours. Like, somebody who's already rich, like, he's like, 5 o'clock is going. I'm not assuming that they do this, but the mentality for the dude who's rich, 5 o'clock, we done with practice, we hanging out, versus like a young dude coming up and saying, man, I need this shit. I want to be a great coach, and I'm going to give coaching everything. There's a lot of people on Ohio State staff who get no credit, who put in a shit ton more hours than Ryan Day. I'm talking about motherfuckers that are just hungry to be better as coaches. I can't say that if you're a Hall of Fame player or you're an elite player, somebody who has done a lot, I don't know if that same focus, and I don't say that in any disparaging way, I don't know if you have it in you to pursue it that well as a coach, or as a player, but then turn around and do it as a coach. And so I don't know.
Mo, I got a question for you. Go ahead. Right? So when you're a Hall of Famer and you're elite like that, you do the work, you get the rewards. Individuals that are that gifted aren't prepared, don't have the skill set to say, I do the work, I didn't get the reward. Okay, now I got to figure this out. And to me, it seems like that's what Prime is going through, right? I don't believe that Prime skips a step, leaves early. I believe when it's time to prepare his kids, I think he does the maximum ability. Their head strength coach, their strength coach there.
So just to be clear, I was referencing as a support staff, not him.
Okay.
I was referencing all of the Warren Sapp, Marshall Falk, and all the people. And this is just assumptions. These are just my assumptions.
Yeah. But again, pile them in there as well, right? If you take Marshall Falk, if he trained hard in the offseason, he knew he was going to run for 1,500 yards. If Warren Sapp did what he did in the offseason, he knew he was going to have 7 to 8 sacks and be up for Defensive Player of the Year. If Prime did what he did, Prime was going to be locked down, right? So when you have these individuals that have this amazing, great skill set, I work hard, here's my reward. You then have a group of guys that aren't used to putting it out there all on the line, working hard, and then
not getting a reward.
Not getting it.
I see what you're saying.
And shit, what do I do now? Right?
Hey, do you think those gold jackets were hired because of their coaching ability? What do you guys think?
That's tough. That's tough.
I think it helps with recruiting. I would think that's the leading reason.
But then I don't want to take nothing away from them as if just because you have a gold jacket you can't be a good coach.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that there's a process to every profession that I think that DJ, you're in the clothing business, right? I don't care how good you were as a football player, you still have to mature within the clothing business. You know what I'm saying?
Until I got knowledge, I got taken advantage of by everybody.
Yeah, but and so the point that I was making about Warren Sapp, Marshall Falk, or everybody, I'm assuming that this is the beginning of their coaching career.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm already successful and I've already made it financially. I'm not going to view this, these are just my assumptions, and I could be wrong. You're not going to view it the same way as somebody who's just starting out. Well, this is all that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make their Hall of Fame career in coaching because they weren't that great as an athlete, or they didn't probably achieve everything they wanted as an athlete. I'm just talking about as a 42-year-old man, when your stomach is already full, you already got a house, you already got a car, you already have these things. I don't know if that translates. And this is just an assumption, right? But the team always reflects the coaches. You know what I'm saying? If you keep on saying that, the kids are giving up, the kids are soft, the kids are getting their ass kicked. Well, somebody recruited these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And the people who recruited them are in the building.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of speaks to you. And I don't know what Larry Coker was like, but I would imagine Larry Coker had to be something because the team function is something. Like, all kids reflect the coaches, right? And I don't care what people market on the internet. They can be as cool as they want to be on the internet, but your personality is always through your team because they're around you every day. You influence them every day. You practice them every day. You make them read every day. You make them watch film every day. And for the most part, like, what are you talking about with LSU? You're talking about their reflection of Brian Kelly. And so we can't separate the two to say these are great players. Yeah, you got to put that shit in the box. Warren Sapp was a great player in his teenage years, his 20s, his 30s, but then that thing is put on a shelf. Now you're responsible for growing this other thing. But then, but from a coaching standpoint, how mature were you at in your process? You know what I'm saying? And so I was speaking more through that lens, and it wasn't to criticize Dion. We hear from him a lot, but it wasn't even to criticize them. It's just my assumptions, because if you're losing, you have to look within the program and say, why are you losing? Go ahead.
Real quick, you said they reflect their coaches. So the head strength coach there now is Andrew Swayze, who was our coach back during our national championship runs that, kind of helped build our program. Everybody remembers when Brandon Merriweather got ran over by Buddy from West Virginia. We won that game, but because of that play, and we didn't beat him by the way that he thought, he literally said, you guys are a reflection of me. That game, you look soft.
That's why they call me expert. Yeah.
He said, you guys look soft. You guys got dominated. No, that's a reflection on me. The day after the game, he had us run 10 times 200s. And if you didn't make your time, shit don't count. Colorado had negative 18.
Gave up 400 plus rushing.
Idea what he got them doing. He probably got them bear crawling mountains. I had to throw that out there.
Let me ask you
Damn.
something, DJ. Do you
Yeah.
think that with Prime's health issues, did that open up a little window for maybe some behaviors that he really don't line up with his coaching staff to happen? Like I don't think him and Warren Sapp on the same page. I think they kind of like button heads a little bit, and maybe the players are seeing that, and then because to get beat like that, there might be something going on inside the locker room. And I'm just asking, did that maybe open the window up for that?
So as far as Prime and his health issues, like I think this applies to everybody, right? We always speak about how you need to have 100% attention to detail and focus, right? And so if you're going through some traumatic health issues, there's no way that you can be 100% in line and focus on your team. Even if you feel that you're doing it, right? At the end of the day, whether you're going to get more testing, whether you're feeling fatigue, your energy is low, all of those things are going to affect that. And now speaking about Prime and Warren Sapp, I know I saw on social media where Warren Sapp was kind of kicking over the pylons and, I believe Deion was going back and fixing them. That's something that Warren Sapp has done throughout his career. I would assume that Deion probably doesn't like it, but I think he also understands, as Warren Sapp is a coach, and he's getting prepared for a game. Like we talk about it, guys are superstitious. And so that's something that Warren Sapp has been doing throughout his whole career. And so I feel like, okay, Prime is in a space, in a position to where, okay, Warren, you're going to do that. But at the same time, there's a way that this program also wants to be presented at itself. So maybe instead of pulling the plug and stopping you from do that, I'm going to go ahead and instill our values and fix those pylons back up. So I don't think that there's any beef between the two.
Can I call? I don't.
Hey, please say what.
Oh, I know.
Come on, man.
I know.
Man. Please say that.
It's to me, right? So we always talk about distracting behavior.
Yeah.
And behavior that doesn't allow you to win. So how can we influence kids to do everything that they're supposed to be doing when they go on the same social media site and they see the position coach or the analyst or the Hall of Fame guy kicking cones over and looking at the other coaches and daring them to say so?
Yeah.
Like, my nigga, we in our 40s, bro. You feel where I'm coming from?
But
It is.
if they weren't winning, it wouldn't be an issue.
If they
weren't winning, we'd be sitting here talking about even they coaches is intimidating other coaches. They don't want the smoke. So at the end of the day, what's the show called? Start with the facts.
Start with the facts, right? We don't start with the hypotheticals.
Yeah.
So, but they're not winning. That's the point I'm making. And so when you're not winning, and what we do is we talk about sports or we talk about our opinions as to people why they don't win. Like, listen to me, I fucked up a lot in my life. You know what? People had opinions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And when I was losing in life, people gave their opinions about why is he losing. And so if I'm in media, I'm just saying, hey man, bro, if I was sitting on the yard talking to Warren Sapp, I'd be like, yo, bro, that's some stupid shit you did. Because that did not produce winning, right? And when you're guiding a kid or when you're guiding a program, you're trying to tell the kid to minimize distractions or do every single thing you can do to win. And I respectfully say this, that's your man, that's your Miami brotherhood. But I'm just speaking as Maurice Claret, independent from anything with our show, and it's not in a disrespectful way. I'm just talking about winning and running an organization. And we were teammates with the Denver Broncos, DJ.
Yeah.
And when I went off the reservation and I was doing stuff distracting to the team, what did they tell me to do? See ya.
Yeah, they can.
Right? And so anything that's not, and so I just put myself in the same pot, right? And anything that isn't allowing you to win or allowing you to get closer to how you win, it becomes distracting. But then you can't talk about you have a standard because, Coach Prime, you kind of have a standard with us over here, and then you kind of have a standard over there. One thing I can say about Ryan Day is that nigga treating everybody the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Win, lose, or draw, we get our ass kicked by Michigan, whatever it is. Niggas still getting treated the same way. Somebody who came in the building, whether it's Archie Griffin, whether it's Eddie George, or whether who it is, like it's consistent, but that comes with running a program at the collegiate level to prepare guys for the NFL. That's all I'm saying. And he may not like these words. Other people may not like these words. When I was going through my shit, I didn't like a lot of shit that people said about me, but I never said it was false.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But by the time I fixed it, my life got better, even though I went through all that. That's all I'm saying. And if we holding people accountable for what they should be doing, Like, it comes down to everything you're doing. You just seen the coach for Virginia. He said, man, I go and I make sure that these kids flush the toilet before they go onto the field. He said, but that's through the culture of how we build the program and how we take care of each other. And that's what it is at the collegiate level. And if it's not that, I think, but it's just my personal opinion. All that stuff.
You're right. At the end of the day, if you're not winning, light two candles, Alex.
DJ, we got one more game to cover. There's no way we're getting through a Monday and not talking about your Hurricanes. So, so they won.
Yeah,
boy, that was a game. That was a game till late in the third quarter.
You guys saw my comments in the group chat, right? I hated the damn uniforms that they wore. I hated the energy that they started.
I hated the uniforms. You was out here decked out. Come on, man.
I hate it. Hey, man, Don Life got a Don Life, right? Don Life's going to Don Life, right? I hated the energy that they played with, right? And I look at that and I say, hey, I don't think the coaching staff has done a great job to have these young men understand the room and margin of error that they have, right? Like, we covered. At the end of the day, we won 42-7, right? We slipped a spot. These young men don't understand. We're sitting here right now at number 10, right? We spoke about this last week, where Georgia Tech and Virginia are both still undefeated in the ACC.
Yeah.
Right? If they play each other in the ACC and it's a tough game, then those will probably be the two teams that go from the ACC to the college football playoffs.
That's a fact.
A 2-loss Miami team does not make the college football playoffs. Reason being is, if you look at the next 4 games that we have on our schedule, these are all teams that we're supposed to blow out and beat convincingly. The energy that these young men displayed last week means that they don't understand. We are the University of Miami. Somehow we won a game by 30-some-odd points. We slipped a spot, right? But you had Notre Dame on a bye week, stay where they were, right? You had Oregon play Wisconsin, right? Didn't handily beat them. There was one more game where I forget. We can go to the Bama game. You know, Bama beating South Carolina by, was it 5 or 7 points? And again, we're not treated the same. And these young men will be in for a rude awakening, because we saw it last year. Last year, the University of Miami should have been in the college football playoff for the simple fact that we had Cam Ward. We had the most electrifying player in the country, right? Our defense was shitty, but hey, you would have known that we could have got in that game and won 55-54. And so again, it's hard to be so upset after you win the game. But I know that winning for us is just not enough. We have to also take care of the optics. We, the University of Miami, shit got to look a certain way. And that shit on Saturday didn't look the right way.
Yeah. And before I go, I'll say like this. Just the fact that the national championship game is down there, I can imagine, it doesn't come around, every but so often. I can imagine that they want to at least get the playoff berth so they can sell that. Say, hey, man, we have a chance to have this game here out of everything. But with that being said, man, we had a great show today. My man Germ is in the house. And so we're going to figure out this seating arrangement for everything. And we're going to have like a color coordination, because DJ in all black and y'all brothers in all black. And see, I was a colorful guy.
Hey, if we on Fridays, we gonna wear Halloween costumes. Listen, here's why. Here's why. I just want to see Brian as Jackson Dart. That's it. That's it. Now that I said that, hold on. That's just that. Listen, mother-in-law would love it. Trust me. Jackson Dart, baby. Come on, Jackson Dart.
No.
So look, well, you got a fan in Ohio, man.
That's why I said, tell her I'm going to slide through.
He want a home cooked meal when he gets to Ohio. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
Make it to the end of this show.
Yeah. We're going to clip that one. All right. So, and as usual, man, every day, I'm not going to say 5 o'clock anymore, because I did get the word from Nick that we will be moving up to earlier in the day. I think, yeah. So hey, we're going to petition till we get all the way to 9 o'clock. Hey, look, and we're going to take this clip and we're going to petition to get us all the way up earlier in the show, but we appreciate it. Thanks for Mason Cam for making it, taking the opportunity to put us on the channel. But all of our grievances has got us slid up to like 2 hours. So we'll keep on fighting to get on early in the day. But like, share a clip, share it on TikTok, Instagram, and everything else. We will be on Spotify, and we will be on the podcast network. That will be coming up soon. We'll be sure to let y'all know. But thanks for you all hanging with us, and see you all tomorrow.